Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is JoJo. I talk about my life story and hopes of helping people, which I already have, and I know I'll help many more to come. I hope you stick around, subscribe, share, thumbs up the video, and all that good stuff. For all my returning OGs, I love you guys so much. Thank you for always coming back and showing your girl some love. Y'all, before I get started, I must say, I do not glamorize or glorify prison or think I'm big, bad, and cool. No, that's not the case. I simply talk about my story that's happened to me or I've seen with my own eyes or heard with my own ears. Without further ado, let's get on to the topic. So, was I turned out in prison? No, I wasn't. I was already bisexual before I went to prison. It all started after I had my last kid, which was 2001. I was done with men. Like, I was done. Completely done. So, and I had been bisexual my whole life. But I decided I didn't want to deal with any more men. So anyways, I was with, I had a girlfriend and stuff like that, but not at the time I went to prison. I wasn't with nobody. When I arrived at prison, you get your chances to be with people and stuff like that. But me, I'm not someone that I have to have somebody to make me feel like somebody. You know what I mean? Like, some women or men have to have a partner in order to feel important or feel loved. That's not the case with me. I actually stayed single for a long, long time. And sometimes people need to be single to work on themselves. You know what I mean? Because how can you be in a relationship if you're not all worked out? Which I'm still not all worked out, but you know what I mean, right? I'm not good with them big fancy words or nothing, but anywho, so I got to prison. I met a friend after about a couple years of me being in there. Her name was Lynn. The best friend I told you all about. Lynn and I were really good friends. She was in the same dorm as me. Actually, she was right across on the wall on the bunk bed side, and we could lay there and see each other. We really couldn't talk to one another. We could do hand signals or something. But anyways, she had a girlfriend in the other dorm. Her girlfriend, I watched them, outside, trying to hold hands. I was there with Lynn through her whole girlfriend thing, okay? As a friend. Just as a friend. Because homie, don't play that if you have somebody, I'm not no home wrecker or nothing. So, I was a friend. Her girlfriend ended up going home. And Lynn and her would talk about, them being together when Lynn got out, because her girlfriend was getting out before Lynn, like, I don't know, 8-9 months before her. But they were going to, live together, and Lynn was going to be baby daddy mama. That's just a little inside thing. Me and Lynn I made it up. I'd be like, oh, okay, you're going to be her kids' baby daddy's mama. Okay. And, it was a little thing. I don't know. Anyways, so her girlfriend went home. Lynn would call her, and for the first day she called her and she was happy, and supposedly the girl had went shopping and bought Lynn some things, and was filling her head up with all this make-believe stuff. Y'all, don't hurt no one's hearts. If you're not going to be with somebody, heads up, like, hey, I'd rather someone tell me, hey, I want you as a play toy, just for the time being. Is that okay? And you make the decision, you know what I mean? But I knew it. I knew it all along. I mean, I called it. I knew it. No, I don't know everything, but I knew this. So the second day came around, and Lynn called and came back from, the phones were in the foyer. She came back inside the dorm, and she was kind of sad looking, and I was like, what's wrong? And she was like, well, I said, did you talk to her? She says, no, her mom don't know where she's at. Da, 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 da. Well, make a long story short, yeah, the girl played with her mind. Yeah, that was done. I knew it. So a couple months went by, and I always had a crush on Lynn. There was just something about her. I just had a crush on her. Her and I started talking. And then I told her, I said, you play with my heart, I'll punch you in the face. And that's what I told her. I swear, I said, you play with my heart and I'll beat you up. But Lynn was a little hustler. Like Lynn got what she wanted from, she had a mouthpiece. That's what it was. She had a mouthpiece on her. But she was sweet. So I was going home, or when it was time for me to go home, we had been together like 6 months, and it was time for me to go, leave. And she was worried about if I was going back to Ohio, because this was in Florida, and she was from Florida. And I'm like, not yet, I'll wait on you. And I really meant it, because I fell in love with her. So I got home. I put money on the phone and stuff like that, so she could call. I sent her some cards in the mail so she could sell the cards, and make some snack money and stuff. I didn't send her cash or anything like that because I didn't have it. If you watch my Homeless After Prison, I think it's called, video, you'll know what I'm talking about. So please go watch that. So anyways, I was living with my aunt at the time, and about a couple weeks later, I was not living with my aunt, but at my aunt's house for a few days. My Aunt Brenda, not my Aunt JoJo, the one who passed away. I was there, and Lynn called, and it wasn't a collect call. She called from they sent her to a halfway house, and she was like, I need somewhere to go. And my aunt's like, she's not coming here. And I'm like, yes, she is. So when Lynn got out, I had a hotel room. I hustled up and started living in a hotel room and stuff. I'm sorry I'm all over the board with this, but like I said, I'm not a really good storyteller, but I try to be. And I will get better, y'all. The only thing that's important is I'm tough enough standing here to tell you my story, But anyway, Lynn got out, and we stayed together. I wanted to go back to Ohio because my kids were there. We came back to Ohio, visit with my kids. She met my kids. Her and I and my oldest daughter, Carrie, Some of y'all might know her from my TikTok live stream. We all lived together. So we get an apartment. Well, at first we was living in hotels and stuff. Lynn and I were doing drugs. Yes, we was. At the time. And we get an apartment in the ghetto, the hood, whatever you want to call it. It's the same to me. It might be different, but to me it's the same. And we were having it pretty rough. And Lynn was diabetic. Lynn never took her medicine. She was in and out of the hospital. The only time she would take her medicine is when I would, come here, let me give you, your medicine and stuff. And, I don't know if I did that for a while, but then I was like, listen, you're a grown woman. You have diabetes really bad. The doctors have been telling you you're going to die if you don't get it together with your diabetes. And she didn't listen. Well, this is turning out to be a story about Lynn and I. So I guess I'm going to still make the topic, was I turned out in prison? But this is turning out to be Lynn and I's story. So, but that's how Lynn and I met. Lynn and I stayed together, 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, for 4 years. We were together for 4 years. This is kind of hard for me to talk about. Lynn got really sick. Well, first I got really sick when I almost died. She was there with me the whole time, never left my side. And then she got sick. She went to the hospital and she was in ICU, y'all. ICU. And she signed herself out of ICU. Yeah. And I couldn't stop her. I tried to stop her. And one day we were at home. She was doing the dishes. And I was cleaning, I think, the living room up and stuff. And she turned around to get something out of the freezer, but didn't get anything. And I looked at her and I was like, she was pale white. I'm like, Lynn, are you okay? She says yes, but shook her head no. And I was like, before I could say, Lynn, come here and sit down, she was standing and went, bow, straight on the floor. Straight on the floor. Stuff spits out of her mouth. And I'm trying to find the phone. I had to go to the neighbor next door. Now remember, we're in the ghetto, the hood, whatever. He was cool with us. He let me use his phone, but of course he came back into the house with me because he was just nosy. He did not want to help. No, check this out. She was not breathing. I'm on the phone with 911. 911's telling me how to do CPR, y'all, because I didn't know how to do it. And I don't know if anybody's ever been in this situation, but when it's your loved one laying there, you're like, you don't, even if you did know how to do anything, because I used to know how to do it, because my son would stop breathing when he had seizures when he was smaller. But that's different type of CPR on smaller, bodies. So she's telling me how to do it, and I asked this man, I said, please help me, she's not breathing. He said, he stood back like this, he said, are you kidding me? So I tried to do it, I still couldn't get it, and they were on the way. I could hear them coming up the hill, because we lived at the top of the hill. So I could hear them coming. Y'all, when I tell you, literally, It took them like 12 minutes to get there. 12 minutes. And they were literally at the bottom of the hill. You want to know why? I think, and you can't tell me nothing else, because it was the ghetto or the hood. And they were always there. They were always in that apartment complex. It was a big apartment complex with about, I don't know, maybe 100 or plus apartments. It was government housing. My daughter lived there for free, plus they paid her electric bill. So anyways, I'm out. She's still on the floor. I run to the window and I open. I'm screaming at them, "Come on, she's not breathing." So they get up there. They, tell everybody to get out of the way. They automatically think it's like a drug overdose or whatever. We all did drugs, but this was not an overdose. She was literally doing dishes. So they work on her, right? And they didn't even let us in the apartment. We had to stay out in the hallway. So they bring her out and she's covered up. But I didn't realize that they had her whole body covered up. To make a long story short, if you want to hear more about Lynn, let me know down in the comments section. I have so many stories about Lynn. Lynn was my ride or die. I do have a picture, one picture left of her. I still have her hat. She was real country. She wore her baseball cap, the same cap she wore every single day with her fish hook on it. She had one of them, fish hook on the front of her hat. I still have that. I got it out a couple months ago and I smelled it and it still smelled like her, y'all. That was my best friend in the whole wide world. It really was. She really was. I even have her name, Lynn, tattooed right here. I don't know if y'all can see that. Lynn. Yeah, I got that done as part of her birthday present one year. She thought it was the coolest thing ever. And people say, "Do you regret that tattoo?" And I'm like, no, because she was part of my life. I learned a lot of things from her. I went through a lot of things with her. And she was literally my best friend. So anyways, they take her to the hospital. And her family, her brother was in the army or military or whatever, and he was, I think at the time, in Iraq, and they gave him I forget what it's called, a thing to come home. Y'all, he was in Florida, her mom was in Arkansas. And before I say this, if her mother or her brother or anybody that was her family member is watching this, which I doubt it, but just in case, y'all was wrong for that. Yeah. Y'all was dead wrong for that. There's no way. So I'm at her bedside, did not leave. I had to go home to take me a quick shower. Well, I wasn't home 20 minutes. And I get a phone call. Actually, they called the person, our friend that lived downstairs on the bottom floor, and he sent somebody up to get me to call or to talk to him. They said, "Get back." They said, "We're keeping her alive, but it's really, really, she's in a lot of pain and she's suffering because we're keeping her alive." They had her on a, they was breathing for her, the machine. Y'all, I got there and I automatically, her mother was thinking, drugs. Yes, we all did drugs. Yes, we did. But it was not a drug overdose, okay? It was about her diabetes. And they kept telling her and kept telling her and kept telling her and kept telling her. The whole 4 years we were together, ICU 3 times she was in ICU, probably 15, 20 times she was in the hospital, maybe even more than that. I would buy her medicine. My stepdad would buy her medicine. My daughter would buy her medicine. My sons bought her medicine. You know, so there was no excuses. She just, like, was giving up. She told me, she says, I give up. And I know I'm off topic, but I want to tell you all this real quick. Before all this happened, the same day, it was Valentine's Day, y'all. The same day, my daughter and her and I were talking about, I don't know why, we were talking about dying. And Lynn said, please do not let them put me in the ground. Because Lynn was a stud, you know, type, boyish type. But she was like a girly girl when it came to bugs. So she didn't like bugs. And I'm like, why are we talking about this? Y'all, this happened on Valentine's Day. It's weird. The night before, she was telling me, she says, JoJo, she says, I feel like I'm dying a little bit more every day. And I'm like, Lynn, stop it, you know, not thinking. So anyway, sorry I got off topic. I just wanted to tell you all this. But to her family, if you are watching, I lost the family member too. She was my family too. My kids and I were her only family. I get back to the hospital and I'm talking to her mother. She's screaming and stuff like that or whatever, and I give the phone back to the nurse. Well, her mother told him to pull the plug. Pull the plug. Now, mind you, her brother got a thing. I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called when he was in Iraq and because of a family member being, you know, close to death, they let him come back. He's in Florida. Her mom's in Arkansas. They have the money. They have the money. When you can get an outside, and I'm sorry, I know, I feel like I'm pointing fingers. I'm sorry, God, but when you have the money to make an outside kitchen and do all these fancy things, she had the money, y'all, I promise. She could have, I mean, at least, God forbid, I would want to be right there, you know? Tell them on the phone, I'll just pull my daughter's plug. Yeah. And, by the way, send us her ashes. Wow. When I walked in, y'all, yeah. When I walked in, like, she wasn't, you know, responsive or anything. But when I walked in, she heard my voice. A tear ran down her cheek. Anyway, they knew they knew my kids and I were her only family, because who could say that on the phone about their kid and not even be there? My daughter Carrie had her right hand and I had her left hand when she took her last breath. But she's in a better place. I have bad memories with her. I have good memories with her. But I have more good memories than bad. So, I don't know if I should do this topic. Was I turned out in prison, or a story about my girlfriend in prison? I don't know. I guess you'll know when you're watching this video. Excuse me. Sorry, y'all. Y'all, life is so short. Life is so precious. She was just doing the dishes. And that quick. That quick, y'all. Love, love, love. Love your family. You know, give your husband a hug, give your wife a hug, give your daughter a hug, give your son a hug. Like right now, just like hug them, tell them you love them. Because you never know. And keep positive. Keep positive. The only thing that's helped me with people that I love that's died is I know they're in a better place, and this world's crazy. They're in a better place. They're no longer in pain. They're no longer suffering, but their memory's still here, and they're still around. They're still around right here. Sorry, y'all, about crying. I'm always so how do you say that? Apologetic when I do my videos. I don't know why. Oh, I'm sorry my background ain't good. Oh, I'm sorry my story. I need to stop that, right? Right. I need to stop that, y'all. And this is what I'm doing. I'm picking one thing that I do, like procrastinate. That's one of the things I do. And I'm working on it, and I'm going to make it like a thing to where I don't procrastinate no more. And then when I get done with that and I don't procrastinate, then I'm going to work on something else. I'll let you know how that works out. But y'all, if you made it to the end of this story, which is right now, it's 27 minutes, drop me a purple heart. Let me know you were, and I thank you. I'm sorry this is so long. Here I go apologizing again. But y'all, I love y'all. If anybody, I want to say this, if anybody that's watching this knows how to make an intro, and it's, you know, you can show me your work and stuff like that, drop me a comment, and let's talk, because I need one. And I'm not tech savvy, so. But anyway, y'all, I love y'all. Be kind. Love yourself. Open a door for someone. Smile at them. You never know. You might have saved that person's life. And when I tell you how they do that, when I tell you, y'all, when I tell you I love you, JoJo loves you. Thank you so, so much for listening to my stories. I love y'all so much. And until next time, God bless. Bye.